Hi, my name is Katie, and today we are going to cover lesson 3 and 4 of unit 1, and I'm here with.
Hi, my name is Mika and I will be the navigator for this session.
Okay, so in class today we learned the Right. creating a Node.js module. So I have a brief summary about what it's about. So we are introduced to npm as a tool to manage dependencies and packages for Node.js applications, and then we learn to initialize the project using the npm and to create a package.json file. And then we built and exported a custom Node.js module, and then we use it in the application file, main application file. And then we also installed and integrated an external package like cities into a sample app. And then obviously we set the stage for integrating these tools into the web application, which will later lead into a web server that I will cover in lesson 4. So moving on, here we're going to initialize the Node.js application. So we're gonna create a folder called recipe connection. I have already done that over here. And basically, after that, we're going to run the npm init command. I've already done that. And that will just prompt us to pull out the application, like the version, a short description, the name of the file, and where we will start it. So I've already done that. Um, Over here, as you can see, I did that in the terminal and then it created the package.json file. And then after that, that should basically be the final output. And then we're going to take this code over here and we're going to edit in the main.js. Why is it always going to the wrong main.js? So over here, we have the use strict. The only difference we have here is the use strict. So basically, the use strict enable the strict mode, which improves coding discipline by catching common errors, for example, using undeclared variables. And then we have the constant cities equals to require cities. So this imports cities module, which contains location data based on the zip codes. And then we have var my city equal to city zip lookup 10016. So this retrieves the location details for the zip code from the city's module. For example, it might return the zip, the city, the state, and probably the longitude. I have already ran the commands as you can see over here in the terminal. I have node main.js and it gave me the zip code, the state, the latitude, the longitude, the city, and yeah, that is it. Um, Moving on, we've got lesson 4. So lesson 4, here we cover the built-in web server function. Let me just clear my workspace before I continue. Okay, so over here, sorry about that. I just wanted to set up my workspace. So in lesson 4, building a simple web server in Node.js. So here we have the built-in web server functionality. So Node.js provides built-in tools for creating web servers via the HTTP module, and then we have the configuration work package.json. So here we configured a Node.js application using package.json for the project setup and management. And then we're creating a web server using the HTTP module and create server method. We developed a simple web server with minimal effort and then running the application. So we successfully ran the web server application through the terminal. And now I will just go in further elaboration about the codes and everything. So over here they gave us a simple web application code in for the main JS. So it's the same, we're repeating the same process that we did in lesson 3, so we're just adding it to lesson 4, which I'm not going to show because I've already explained it. So over here we have a code that we took, and I'm going to explain what this code is. So we're using strict mode. I obviously explained what strict mode is. It helps us catch the coding errors and it improves the performance. And then we have the cons port equal to 3000. So that specifies the port number 3000 where the server will listen for incoming request. So that will be the server name like localhost 3000. And then we have const HTTP require and then const HTTP status over here. So the HTTP in this module is used to create an HTTP server, and then the HTTP status code this provides the name constants for HTTP status codes like HTTP status OK 200. And then we have the const app HTTP create server request response. So that just creates the server object that listens for incoming HTTP requests and sends the responses. And then it also, the request object holds the detail about the incoming request. So for instance, the method, the headers, and the URLs, and then the response object is used to send data back to the client. And then we have the console.log. Um, that logs a message to the console whenever the server receives a request. And then we obviously have the response written head HTTP status OK, and then the content type. So the response right head sets up the HTTP status code, and then the HTTP status OK, which is 200, and the response headers, and the content type text slash HTML tells the client that the response will contain the HTML content. And then we have the let respond message and then respond right over there. Make this full. So that defines the response message as an HTML string like hello universe in the h1 tags, and then this just sends the response content using the response dot write. And then we have the response dot end. So this just indicates that the response is complete and it ends the connection. And then we have the console.log send a response. So this just logs the response message to the console. And then we have the app listen. We have the app listen in the console.log. So the app listen starts the server and then it listens to the request on the defined port 3000, like localhost 3000, and then it logs a message to the console when the server starts. So as you can see earlier, I did run the code node main.js, and the server is started and it is listed on the port number 3000. Um, as you can see here, it says hello universe. Same text that we had over here. And also there is a HTTP response like received an incoming request and then sent a response. And that is it for unit 1. Thank you for watching.